To Aung San Suu Kyi, ladies and gentlemen, it's a historical moment. We welcome here one of the most extraordinary personalities of this century. A woman who has fought for freedom, against oppression, for justice, for the young people, for women. We are very honored that we have the privilege to listen to you this morning. It is your first visit abroad after 24 years, and you just told me it's practically exactly the day when you came last to this country, 24 years ago. And of course, we know that you have spent over 15 years of the 24 years in house arrest. We also welcome here a personality who has been distinguished for what she has done by practically every prestigious award, and particularly the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991. It's an extraordinary person also in terms of her wisdom, in terms of what she has done for the idea not to be guided by fear, but always to be guided by hope. To Aung San Suu Kyi, we welcome you cordially here in Thailand. Please.
I would like to begin by thanking Professor Schwab and all the organizers of the World Economic Forum who made it possible for me to come here. It has been a very interesting and very valuable experience for me. I've managed to connect up with people from all parts of the world, and all of them have shown a tremendous interest in what is going on in my country. So this morning, I would like to talk about commitment to the improvement of that piece, little piece, not so little perhaps, of the world, whom some of us call Burma and some of us call Myanmar. Commitment entails dedication, firmness of purpose, perseverance, and clear objectives. I have been asked very often whether I think that the reform process in Burma is irreversible. Now, when people talk about the reform process, we have to question what they mean. When I was first released from house arrest at the end of 2010, people usually meant political reform. They were aware of the fact that political prisoners were being released and that there were steps towards national reconciliation. And as the NLD, my party, decided to re-register and take part in the electoral process, this was seen as a sign of inclusiveness. But later, as we started preparing for the elections, I noticed that the emphasis shifted to economic reform. People, when they talked about reform, meant economic reform. With regard to that, there are many different opinions. I have heard people getting very excited over the momentum of reform in Burma. At the same time, I have heard others, some of them hardened entrepreneurs, saying, reforms? What reforms? So this is why I prefer to talk about improvements in our country, because reform could mean whatever it is that the person who is using the word may wish it to mean. But for me, reform means improvement to the condition of our people. Going back to commitment, when I'm asked this question, are the reforms in Burma irreversible? I say this depends on how committed the military is to this reform process. Now, I would like to expand this to say that our success will depend how irreversible the reform process is, will depend on national commitment. There has to be commitment on the part of all of those who wish to improve the state of our country. We have to know what we want. This is why I'm so much in favor of this very simple motto, improving the state of the world. We just want to improve the state of Burma. That's what we mean when we say reform. We do not mean the kind of reforms that may benefit any particular individual or group or organization, but the kind of reforms that will mean an improvement for our peoples in general. I deliberately use the word peoples because Burma is made up of many ethnic nationalities. We all make up the Union of Burma. This is why national reconciliation has been so very important for us. And now I think we should shift the emphasis from time to time from national reconciliation to national commitment, because it is national commitment that will bring us both national reconciliation and improvements in our material conditions. I have been studying the growing volume of work on failing and failed states and how to fix them. And in all this work, I have been particularly struck by one finding put forward by Paul Collier. He mentions that it has been found that a critical mass of educated people was important, in fact, essential in order to make reform strategies work. And by that, by a critical mass of educated people, he meant a large population and a large proportion of that population with secondary education. This was what struck me, secondary education. He was not talking about PhDs. He was not talking about university graduates. A critical mass of secondary education, educated people was what was necessary in order to successfully implement reform strategies. Now, this is very much in line with my way of thinking. We need basic education in Burma. I have been emphasizing this for the past month or so because I think there has so far been too much emphasis on tertiary education, even on postgraduate education. And I would like to explain that by basic education, I do not mean elementary education, but the kind of education that will enable our people to earn a decent living for themselves. It's as simple as that. The proportion of young people who are unemployed in Burma is extremely high. That, I keep saying, is a time bomb. For how long can these young people keep on depending on their parents, which is what they're doing, because they have no employment? And who are the people who are going to implement these sometimes quite ambitious reform strategies? Again and again, those interested in the new openings in Burma who have visited our country during the past month or two have remarked on the fact that there is a grave lack of people capable of carrying out the measures that the government is proposing. So who are going to carry out these measures? How do we find the people who will make sure that our reform process becomes irreversible? We need capacity, but not quite capacity in the way in which some organizations see it. We need capacity to be built from the ground upwards. And this is where I would like all of you to help. I would like you to think very seriously about how to build up a strong basic foundation for reform success in Burma. For the moment, please don't think too much in terms of how much benefits investment will bring to those who are investing. I understand that investors invest because they hope to profit from the ventures. Well, we agree with that, but we also hope to benefit from these investment ventures. Our country must benefit as much as those who have come in to invest there. So please think deeply for us. I have been listening to many speakers in this forum, and I was particularly struck by one comment, very simple comment, that we have to look to the questions of corruption and inequality. And I absolutely agree with that. We have to try to eradicate corruption and inequality as we proceed towards greater investment. We do not want more investment to mean more possibilities for corruption. We do not want investment to mean greater inequality. We do not want corruption to mean greater privileges for the already privileged. We want investment to mean, quite simply, jobs, as many jobs as possible. It's as simple as that. Job creation is extremely important in Burma. And together with job creation must go training, the kind of training that will enable our unemployed young to take up jobs, vocational training. We need vocational training and non-formal education much more than we need doctoral programs, which is not to say that I do not value higher education. Indeed, I value it very much. But we have to look to the needs of our country in a very practical way. So I'm speaking to you as somebody who lives in a society that is in great need of basic skills that will enable all our people to take part in our reform process. We want our national commitment to become firm. Without this national commitment, we cannot go forward. National commitment, we would like to link to regional and global commitment to shared goals. We all want a more prosperous, more peaceful world. We want to be part of that more prosperous, more peaceful world. We don't want to be marginalized. We don't want to be left behind. We don't want to fall by the wayside because we've chosen the wrong path. So I'm here not to tell you what to do, but quite simply to tell you what we need. And we want you to help us to find the answers. Many countries have grappled with corruption and failed, or are failing at the moment. I hope they will succeed at some time. We have to grapple with corruption. We want to succeed. I keep telling our people, it's true that we're behind everybody else, but that means we can learn from the mistakes of everybody else. And in that way, we will avoid making these mistakes, and as our well-wishers keep saying, we can leapfrog and get to our goal quicker than we might otherwise have done if we had not been aware of the mistakes made by others. So in this meeting, I would very much welcome suggestions from all or any of you. I don't think all, because I suppose there won't be time for everybody to make suggestions, as to how we can cope with the problems of a country which is yet still yet at a stage when we are working towards national reconciliation. You'll have to accept that we have not yet achieved it. So we are trying to achieve national commitment to national reconciliation and development. So please, ideas, suggestions, practical ones, and please think of the opportunities that Burma is offering the world as opportunities for you as well as for us. I will take any questions that Professor Schwab and all of you may wish to put to me, but that is all I have to say. Please help us to meet our needs, and I think you will find it a very, very worthwhile thing to have done. Thank you.